Men over 60. Could masturbation be damaging the prostate? There's a question many men over 60 have asked themselves, quietly, alone, but rarely spoken out loud. It doesn't come up in doctors' offices. You won't hear it over coffee with friends. But around 3 m in the morning, when everything is still and silent, it creeps into your thoughts like a whisper. If I masturbate every day, am I damaging my prostate? Some men fear they're wearing it out, that they're causing inflammation, or worse, increasing their risk of cancer. Others feel shame, guilt, or confusion, even when they haven't done anything wrong. And some give it up altogether, not because they want to, but because they're afraid. I understand. I'm Dr. Marissa Blake, a urologist with over a decade of experience helping men over 60 protect their prostate, restore their confidence, and reclaim their quality of life. And today, I want to talk to you about something that most men think about, but almost no one dares to ask. Because the truth I'm about to share with you is going to surprise you, not just because it goes against what you've always been told, but because it might actually bring you relief, clarity, and even a new sense of hope. So don't go anywhere. The answer to this question isn't just yes or no. It's a story. One of misinformation, science, and what your body has been trying to tell you all along. Before we can answer the big question, we need to meet the quiet little organ at the center of all this fear and confusion, the prostate gland. The prostate is small, about the size of an almond or a walnut. It sits just below the bladder and in front of the rectum. And its job: it produces the fluid that mixes with sperm to form semen. In other words, it helps carry life. But here's what most men don't realize. As we age, especially after 50, the prostate starts to change. It often gets larger. And even when that growth isn't cancerous, it can still cause problems. You might notice it when you're standing at the toilet longer than you used to, when you're waking up 3, 4, even 5 times a night to pee, or when your bladder never feels fully empty, no matter how many times you go. And here's where the fear begins. Because prostate cancer is one of the most common cancers among men. And anything that might irritate or stimulate this gland, like daily masturbation, feels risky. But is that fear truly justified, or is it rooted in outdated beliefs and silent shame? Let's separate myth from medicine, because the answer might change how you think about your own body forever. For decades, men have lived under a cloud of confusion when it comes to their bodies, especially this part of it. You've probably heard the whispers. Too much masturbation causes swelling. It drains your strength. It inflames the prostate, maybe even leads to cancer. Or the harshest one, it's not something a respectable man does, especially at your age. These myths don't come from science. They come from shame, passed down in locker rooms, hushed conversations, and even well-meaning advice from another time. And for many older men, these ideas stick. They're wrapped up in guilt, loneliness, and a quiet fear that maybe you're doing something wrong. Something that could one day lead to a diagnosis no man wants to hear. I've met so many patients, strong, kind, responsible men, who lowered their voices to ask me, "Doctor, am I harming myself by releasing too often?" And I always give them the same answer. Let's not guess. Let's look at the science. Because thankfully, someone finally did. One of the world's most respected medical institutions decided to stop the speculation. They followed tens of thousands of men for almost 2 decades. And what they found didn't just challenge these old beliefs. It shattered them. In the next part, I'll show you the study and the truth it revealed. It's going to surprise you. And it just might lift a burden you've been carrying for far too long. Let's talk about what science actually discovered. A team of researchers from Harvard University's T.H. Chan School of Public Health conducted one of the most comprehensive studies ever done on male sexual health and prostate cancer. They didn't just survey a few hundred men. They tracked nearly 32,000 men for almost 2 decades, carefully monitoring their health, lifestyle habits, and one very specific detail: how often they ejaculated. Now, this wasn't about judgment or morality. This was about data, and what it revealed was astonishing. The men who reported more frequent ejaculation, specifically 21 times or more per month, had up to a 33% lower risk of developing prostate cancer compared to those who ejaculated only 4 to 7 times a month. Let that sink in. More ejaculation, less risk. It's not just one lucky finding either. A separate large-scale study in Australia found nearly identical results, strengthening the case that this isn't a fluke, it's a real, measurable protective effect. But why would something so simple, something most men were taught to feel embarrassed about, offer such powerful protection? Well, researchers have a few compelling theories. One is called the prostate stagnation hypothesis. Think of your prostate like a filter or a set of narrow pipes. If those pipes stay clogged with old fluids, dead cells, or waste too long, they may irritate the tissue, causing inflammation, or worse, changes that can turn into cancer. Regular ejaculation flushes those pipes, keeping things clear and reducing the chance for dangerous buildup. Another theory focuses on cell turnover. Frequent ejaculation may help the prostate shed older, potentially damaged cells and replace them with newer, healthier ones, reducing mutation risks. And then there's stress reduction. Ejaculation naturally lowers stress and tension, and since chronic stress fuels inflammation, this calming effect may help the body maintain a healthier internal environment. So no daily release isn't something to fear. According to this groundbreaking research, it may be one of the most natural ways to care for your prostate and possibly protect yourself from one of the most feared diagnoses in men's health. And yet, this doesn't mean ejaculation is a cure-all. In the next part, we'll talk about the full picture, because good health never comes from just one habit. Now, before you think this is a free pass to ignore everything else, let's pause. Yes, the science from Harvard is powerful. Yes, regular ejaculation through sex or masturbation may reduce your prostate cancer risk. But no, it's not a magic bullet. You see, health, especially after 60, is like a puzzle. And ejaculation, it's one important piece, but not the whole picture. Let's be honest. The men in that study who had higher ejaculation frequency, they were also more likely to be physically active, eat better, and see their doctor regularly. That matters. A lot. So think of ejaculation not as a standalone cure, but as a partner in your long-term health strategy. Something that works best when it's part of a routine that supports your body from all angles. What else should be in that routine? A prostate-friendly diet with foods rich in lycopene, like tomatoes and watermelon. Regular exercise, even a 15-minute walk after dinner. To reduce inflammation and support blood flow quality sleep, because hormones like testosterone repair themselves overnight. And perhaps most importantly, yearly screenings, especially if you're over 50 or have a family history of prostate issues. In short, your prostate responds best when your whole body is cared for. So if ejaculation is one tool in your toolbox, great. But don't forget the others, because when they work together, something amazing happens. You feel clearer, lighter, stronger, more in control. And that's what real vitality after 60 is all about. Let's now face the question that many of you are still holding on to. Is doing it every day too much? And my honest answer, as a doctor who's worked with thousands of men over 60, is this. It depends, not on your age, but on how it's affecting your life. From a medical standpoint, there is no evidence that daily ejaculation harms the prostate. In fact, as we saw earlier, regular release may actually be protective. But here's the real question you should ask yourself. Is this helping me, or is it becoming a burden? For some men, masturbation is a healthy, relaxing part of life, a way to sleep better, reduce tension, and feel more connected to their bodies. There's nothing wrong with that. But for others, it can become compulsive. If you're skipping meals, avoiding intimacy with a partner, or feeling emotionally numb afterward, those are signs it's not serving you well anymore. So how do you find balance? Pay attention to how you feel afterward. Do you feel relaxed and satisfied, or guilty and drained? Look at your overall energy. If it's interfering with your mood, focus, or relationships, it might be time to scale back. And don't be afraid to talk to a doctor or therapist. You're not broken, you're human, and help is always available. Remember, sexuality doesn't have an expiration date. You're allowed to enjoy this part of yourself without shame, without fear. If daily ejaculation is part of what makes you feel alive and well, and it's not interfering with your health or your relationships, then it's likely just fine. Because the goal isn't to stop being a man, it's to understand your body and give it what it needs with wisdom, not worry. Now that you know the truth about daily ejaculation, let's talk about what else you can do to support a healthy prostate, naturally and effectively. These are 4 simple habits I recommend to every man over 60. They don't cost much, they don't require fancy supplements, but over time, they can make a powerful difference. 1. Eat with your prostate in mind. Focus on foods that fight inflammation and support hormonal balance. Tomatoes, watermelon, and pink grapefruit are rich in lycopene, a natural compound shown to lower prostate cancer risk. Add cruciferous vegetables like broccoli, cabbage, and Brussels sprouts. They help your body detox excess hormones. Limit processed meats, fried foods, and excess dairy, which may worsen inflammation. 2. Move your body every day. You don't need to run marathons, but a 15-minute walk after meals improves circulation, lowers blood sugar, and brings oxygen to the pelvic area, including your prostate. Movement is medicine, especially after 60. 3. Hydrate smart. Drink plenty of water earlier in the day. Avoid chugging fluids late at night, which can irritate your bladder and disrupt sleep. Proper hydration keeps urine diluted and helps flush the urinary tract. 4. Get regular screenings. After 50, schedule a yearly PSA test and talk to your doctor about any changes in urination or intimacy. Catching issues early means simpler, more effective treatments. Together, these 4 habits support the effects of regular ejaculation and build a solid foundation for lifelong prostate health. So let's come back to that quiet question, the one that might have been sitting with you for years. If I touch myself too often, am I hurting my prostate? The truth, backed by science, is this. No, you're not. In fact, regular ejaculation may be one of the simplest, most natural ways to protect your prostate as you age. It helps clear toxins, it lowers stress, it keeps things moving, healthy, and balanced. But even more important than the science is this. Your body isn't trying to embarrass you. It's not working against you. It's speaking to you, softly, honestly, and without judgment. And what it's saying is this. I still work. I still feel. I still want connection, whether physical, emotional, or both. You don't have to silence that part of yourself to age with dignity. In fact, understanding and honoring it might be one of the healthiest things you can do. So let go of the shame. Let go of the guilt and replace it with wisdom, care, and choice. If this message resonated with you, I invite you to leave a comment, share your story, or tell us what topic you'd like to explore next. And above all, take care of yourself, because aging doesn't mean disappearing. It means becoming more intentional with your body, your health, and your life.